Did you hear any sounds coming from Monsieur Ratchet's room?
Well, earlier I'd asked that Swedish lady, Mrs. Olson, if she had anything for a headache. She's a nurse, you know.
Yes, I know.
Poor soul. Looking for my room, she'd opened the door to Mr. Ratchet's compartment by mistake. He laughed and said something not very nice, I think. But I couldn't make it out. She said, "Oh, I make a mistake. I ashamed to make a mistake," in that bizarre accent of hers. And he laughed again and said something about her being too old. The idea. My late husband, Mr. Hubbard, and I enjoyed conjugal relations right up to the very end.
Anything else?
After that, I heard snoring. Quite loud, like an airplane engine revving up.
You said you had evidence for me? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said that.
What color is your dressing gown?
What an odd question. I have 2 dressing gowns, if you must know. A pink flannel that's kind of cozy on board ship, and a purple silk number that my late husband, Mr. Hubbard, gave me. But what in creation do you want to know that for?
Someone in a scarlet kimono was seen coming out of either your compartment or Monsieur Ratchet's. It is very difficult to tell sometimes which is which when all the doors are closed.
Well, it wasn't mine.
Then it must have been Monsieur Ratchet's.
That wouldn't surprise me any. I thought I heard a voice in there.
I would like to fingerprint you.
What do you have there? A typewriter ribbon? You're going to smear ink from that on my fingers?
That was my intention.
And how do you plan to clean that mess off afterwards?
Oh,
I had
it's not
something
like
to
there's
clean
a
your hands
billion
with.
bathrooms on this
Cocktail
train.
napkins? Good gracious, sweetie. What kind of fleabag investigation are you conducting here anyway?
I appreciate your cooperation.
So, where was the evidence in all this?
She said she heard a voice and we're not going to... There we go.
Was it a woman you heard in Monsieur Ratchet's room?
Yes, I think it was.
Did you hear what was said?
Well, I didn't put a glass up to the connecting door and eavesdrop, for heaven's sake.
There's a bathroom in
What
the
sort of
way.
a person do you think I am?
When was it you heard this voice?
I have no idea. Sometime after the snoring died.
Was it before or after the train stopped?
After. After the man in my room that you have so far failed to ask me about. I woke up, heard the voice, and that was that.
Tell me about the man you thought was in your
Well,
room.
it's about time.
At last. No offense intended, sweetie, but you foreigners do just about everything backwards.
The man?
Well, I was in bed. I woke up. All in the dark it was. And I knew, I tell you, that there was a man in there with me.
In your bed?
In my what? How dare you? No, in my compartment. I was just so scared I couldn't scream. I just lay there and thought, mercy, I'm gonna be killed by some foreigner. These nasty trains. I just lay there with my eyes closed and thought of America. Somehow I got my wits about me and I felt about with my hand and I felt.
Yes?
The bell button. I pressed it and pressed, but no one came. I thought, mercy, what if they'd murdered every single soul on the train? I went on pressing the bell, and at last, footsteps in the corridor. I dragged on my dressing gown, the pink one. I screamed, "Come in!" and switched on the lights, and would you believe it? There wasn't a soul there.
I thought of America. It's not far to go, man.
Michelle opened your door and entered.
Yes, although considering the time it took him to arrive, he must have come by dog sled. He seemed to imagine I dreamt the whole thing. I tell you here and now, I'm not one to imagine things.
Maybe it took so long because he had to climb out the window, go round the train, and then come back in.
Like, what? I can't figure out from this, like, if the guy left the room, he's not in the room. So either she's making this up to, like, distract everyone, or provide a distraction. Or alternatively, she's just so unobservant the guy could just go out the door or out the window or something, and...
She would have mentioned how cold it was. I think he went through the connecting bathroom.
I guess.
But why did he come through there anyway?
Hmm.
I don't know. There's no reason to go in this room, is there?
I have no idea.
Uh,
I suppose, like, if you could go into the connecting bathroom,
yeah.
then Michelle, who's watching the corridor, comes in, talks to her. At that point, you come out the other interconnected room,
I guess.
and then kill Ratchet.
Oh, so it was a way to get Michelle into the room and out of the corridor.
Well, that's one way of doing it, I
So
think.
he could just leave via the corridor. That's very interesting. Oh, that
Michelle
could be it.
searched your compartment?
Yes, even under the chair. Although he said there wasn't room for a man to squeeze himself under there. I asked him to check the connecting door.
Was it bolted?
No, but I knew it had been because I asked the Swedish lady to check it when she brought me the headache powder.
Oh.
Before Michelle arrived, did either door open and close?
Sweetie, my eyes were squeezed shut tighter than a banker's fist. I didn't see. And with the bell making all that racket, the intruder could have dynamited a hole in the wall, and I wouldn't have heard it.
Do you
Yeah, you
remember
would.
the Armstrong kidnapping?
I'll say I do. How that wretch that did it escaped scot-free, I'll never understand. I'd have liked to get my hands on him.
Wonders of the American
You
justice
could
system.
have, madam, when the
Yes.
connecting door was unbolted.
You mean Ratchet was the man?
Yes, his real name was Cassetti.
Well, imagine that. Wait till I tell my daughter.
Honey, I killed the man who was Cassetti.
Were you acquainted with the Armstrong family?
Well, they were from New York, too. But no, they moved in a very exclusive circle. I've always heard that Mrs. Armstrong was a perfectly lovely woman, and that her husband worshipped her. It was all incredibly sad.
I would like to dust the doorknob of the connecting door for fingerprints.
My, aren't you the little improviser? Be my guest, sweetie. Search the whole place if you'd like. I need a drink.
Hey,
Mrs.
look, they rendered
Hubbard,
my legs.
Wait, you dropped this.
That's not mine.
I thought as it has the initial H on it.
I've got mine right here. See? It's marked CMH, and it's a sensible thing, not that flimsy, expensive Parisian cambric. What good is a hanky you can't sneeze into?
So, whose room is connected to this one?
Ratchet.
Okay.
Yeah. So... Oh, where's the bathroom? Is there no bathroom?
Is it just immediately interconnected? The Ratchet. Okay, so that's one way of getting in.
Yeah. So, he was in here. He needed to get Michelle out the corridor, but why is the window open then?
There's nothing I can do.
Maybe he needed to get... He needed to stay on the train. He couldn't leave, otherwise it'd be obvious. So, he came in here. Then he went in here. And... I guess he must have been covered up just in case she saw, but she made a ruckus. Michelle comes in here. This guy slips through here, doesn't bolt the door, goes out here, and then Michelle, there's no one in the corridor, just goes to his room. Or her room, or whatever.
That's a pretty effective way of doing it.
Yes, because this guy sits here 24/7, clearly. And he did. But why did he take so long? Maybe she was just exaggerating, or maybe he was...
Maybe he's in on it.
That is quite possible, yes. So that whole thing just provides Michelle's cover for why he didn't see anyone come out of the room. Maybe. I don't know.
He's not been very helpful.
Why is this door open? I guess it's just the whole two people scenario. One person wasn't on the train and one person is. So we're looking for one person who is on the train that we know and one person who isn't, who lives in the woods.
So, maybe a person triggered the avalanche to stop the train.
That makes sense.
And there was a bunch of stuff like hidden in the shack. I mean, how would you know about that otherwise, unless you know this area?
Dynamite!
So they did that, and then having stopped the train, one person basically came in like that, and...
Yeah. One person jumps to the window, stabby, 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 stabby. How'd they open the window?
Maybe the other person let them in.
Why does he have to let them in? Why can't he just do it himself? Maybe this is meant to take... You're just meant to think they came in through the window, but there wasn't anyone on the train. So it's all just an elaborate ruse. I'm going to search her room. That is definitely Poirot with the dressing gown, by the way.
We need to fingerprint the door.
I see nothing remarkable.
Too right.
Yeah, just checking.
I won't find any.
Cool, we already just snooped through her stuff. Okay. Can I... marvellous. Okay.
Quite interesting.
So
Okay.
there is something we can use on
We need
this.
to find out how to do this. Where's that typewriter ribbon? Because I reckon that's the first step. Here we go.
That doesn't make...
Yes, it does.
I don't think...
Okay.
Maybe the cards? Try that again.
That isn't good.
I confess that you...
Alright, let's combine some stuff.
Whee!
Dun, 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 dun. Brain, come on, what does a typewriter ribbon look like? There we go.
Those don't work
They
together.
really, really, really do.
Why adventure games? Why?
They work together. Why?
What?
Oh wait, CMH, where did we find this? Ah, this handkerchief looks nothing like the one found in Ratchet's room.
Well, that's a start.
Okay, so H is probably like the outsider. Unless, is there anyone whose name we don't know? Like their full name? The Count and Countess? Hardman?
Maybe.
Monsieur Hardman? Okay.
Maybe click the fingerprint button.
Oh, do we just compare? Okay. Wait.
We need to acquire a fingerprint somehow, but how do we do that?
We got loads of them. Awesome. Right. Na 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 na.
No.
We have coal. You can use coal dust, right?
Now you're thinking with adventure logic.
I confess that...
Well, maybe if you didn't make your games so dumb.
I mean,
So-
fixing the underside of that train, man.
Right. So you do it with people because you don't do it the same way when you're getting fingerprints off something. You need some kind of dust. Because with ink it works because your fingers have the indentation, but you need... Can you get out the cellar?
Does nothing... Quite
Everything strikes
interesting.
me odd.
I'll strike you odd in a minute.
This is neither...
Poirot, we need assistance.
Off we go. Hey, we heard you better get out of bed.
Your return.
Intermission. Seriously, we get it. We again. Don't do
And then there
this.
was a cinema on the island and
And that
something
is everything
about...
I have discovered so far.
We progress, mademoiselle. Now, let us see what we can learn.
Okay. Well, we can do this.
Madame Hubbard heard a woman in Monsieur Ratchet's room.
Wait, and about the time you heard the noise and saw the woman in the scarlet...
It was you, wasn't it?
So, does a woman speak to Monsieur Ratchet, murder him, drop a handkerchief with the letter H, then scurry off down the corridor in a scarlet kimono? Or does Madame Hubbard hallucinate a woman's voice as well as the man in her room?
The valet masterman says Ratchet took less than his normal sleeping draft.
So, instead of a comatose Ratchet who would not struggle when the knife began its work, we have a Ratchet who might cry out.
But after the cry, I heard Ratchet tell Michelle that there was nothing wrong.
I kind of suggest that Michelle might be in on it. He walks in. It's kind of...
Everything okay in there? Yes, it's totally fine. Okay, me.
Well, no, the person in the room could have been... would be an American as well, so it could have...
Wah.
Yeah, see?
Everything's in fine in here.
Bring me a woman! Ah.
It's a pretty easy voice to imitate.
Yeah.
Monsieur McQueen saw the woman in the scarlet kimono.
But not enough to identify her. And he says he saw Michelle coming from the direction of the salon car. Or at least someone in an attendant's uniform.
Hildegard Schmidt saw an attendant leaving a compartment.
Oui, one of the middle rooms. Either Ratchet's or Madame Hubbard's. And his description. No, it is not Pierre Michel, this small dark man with a moustache who speaks in the high voice.
No, but he matches the description Ratchet gave Hardman of his enemy.
You, Poirot. You're his enemy. You're merely pretending to be Poirot. That would be an amazing plot twist. This isn't even Poirot. This is the guy who murdered Ratchet. What better way to hide than the detective without actually having to detect stuff?
But how are we going to graduate Poirot Uni if it's not
It's
the real
all
Poirot?
a ruse!
No.
A ruse, I say!
Getting my fake crime certificate.
It's all a forgery.
Ugh.